we were talking about privatization now, and you have certainly as an advisor to Prime Minister and to the team of our country builders now. How do you think are our political leaders today, our managers, top managers, just ready for this global privatization right now? Do they still lack of political will or courage to do that? And how do you think, what's the opportunity they will finally start doing this liberalization and total privatization of all these ineffective state holding enterprises and etc.?
Yeah, let me start by saying, I think Leszek Balcerowicz said that you cannot change how people are thinking and behave themselves, but you can change rules and institutions. And you can diminish space, and this is important, you can diminish space for corruption by diminishing possibilities how to do this. And in this regard, yes, we have to build institutions, independent institutions, which will penalize those who are doing something wrong. But even, and at the same time, this is important to diminish space by privatization, liberalization, deregulation. In this point of view, I mean, energy tariffs deregulation were the biggest, the most successful anti-corruption method or act which was done in Ukrainian history, in all Ukrainian history. Privatization. The problem, and really in privatization during the last 2 years we have no progress. We have to say that this is area in which no result. Why? Also because this is kind of threat, also because this is politically uneasy, because people usually, it is very easy to misuse privatization against those who are doing this. I know because I did it in my country. It was clear international open tenders. Despite of this, it was misused against us. It will be misused against those who will do it, but despite of this, it is necessary to do. But to do it by very, very clear, transparent, competitive methods. And here is the biggest problem. Because especially, the most important will be to privatize the big companies, big important companies, which are also the biggest source of corruption, political clientelism, everything connected with this. But to do this kind of privatization openly and transparently means really, it is a long-term process. You have to hire advisors, investment banks. It takes, even this process, to hire advisors takes about 4 or 5 months, 6 months. And then the process of privatization takes about 1.5 to 2 years. It is really, if you want to do it, to have really, to gain strong strategic investors which will develop your companies and so on and so on. Which means it is necessary to start as soon as possible by this method. If this is not done like this, then there are a lot of problems in privatization, disputes, and political controversy, and so on and so on. Which means what is missing is clear strategy to divide companies in these groups, to start as soon as possible, because if not, as I said, this process takes about 2 years, then it will bring no results in this election term. And then we have a lot of small companies, not such important companies. This is necessary to have as simple as possible system, which was prepared, as I know, by Georgian reformers, group of them, to based on transparent auctions, which only one criterion, which is price. And then you have another problem: agricultural land. I think land liberalization, land market liberalization, can be one of the strongest and most important incentive for growth, for development, for small and medium sector in the agriculture. But again, politically it is sensitive, and this is again also about leadership, about doing this despite of this difficulty. But of course, not leadership in means of authoritarian, but also strong leadership in communication, in open communication.
Really, to just underline what Ivan was saying, but also so if the single most important source of corruption was the energy sector, and maybe Naftagaz was the most important single source. Also, what has been done in the central bank, which I think was also very much a source of corruption. So if you look at these two key institutions, And we should acknowledge the tremendous change that happened there. And I think it points to the direction of what has to happen also when we talk about the state-owned enterprises. Yes, it's important to privatize in the end, but all these steps leading up to that, and it's important not to shortcut that process, because then you can see what happened in many other countries. You get this idea that just get rid of the assets and then off we go. That's not the way to do it. It's going through this process, and I want to emphasize, and this is where Naftagaz is such a good example, the corporate governance changes that happened there, the opening up to independent directors, to force people making these decisions to really engage with independent directors. It's so fundamental that it cannot be overemphasized. And it again, using that model, taking it to the state-owned enterprises, I think that's the way to do it.